DIY.
DIYers. So there was an amazing interview by Elsie with an artist that I'm sure many of you have heard of, Saba. He's a rapper, songwriter, and producer from Chicago's West Side, celebrated for his introspective storytelling and innovative sound. He sat down with Elsie to talk about a few different things. And a moment that happened here on this platform with my dog Mick Jenkins actually came into the conversation. I thought that was pretty cool. Was not expecting that. But shout out to Saba. If you've never heard his music before, I'm jealous because now you're about to really, really enjoy an artist that is multidimensional and just somebody who's just really, really ahead of his time in a lot of ways. With that said, in this section of the interview, they talk about something I think is going to apply to a lot of DIYers who say this phrase that we've been recycling for generations. Let the music speak for itself. Pretty sure you've heard that before. You probably used that before, especially those of you that are anti-making content. Well, he says something that I think brings a new fresh perspective to it, and I wanted to highlight that here at the 33-minute mark of this interview.
I think one thing that you've put out that's really stuck with me is I think a couple years ago you wrote this essay and it was published on Complex. And there was a part that you wrote about getting 10K from a brand before you even made that from rap. And you poured all of that into funding your first tour.
Yeah.
Wow.
That really stuck with me because like, I feel like a lot of artists these days talk about not wanting to, in a way, be content creators, market brands. They just want to be artists. But for independent artists, you know, there's a tension. You have to show up online, but some people feel like it waters down the art. Like, how do you navigate that? And what advice would you offer to people that might be in the same shoes as you were in back then?
I think this is something that I'm guilty of, but I think most artists romanticize the past in a way that it's like, we got to do all of this shit now that they didn't have to do back then. And it's like, these niggas are in commercials, they're selling products, they're doing all of this shit that they probably don't want to be doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's a part of their version of, you know, getting out there, getting their songs out there, getting their face out there and all of that shit. So it's like, it's really up to you. At the end of the day, it's like, it's up to you, but just be proud of whatever result that like brings. Like, if you don't want to be online doing content or making reels or TikToks or YouTube shorts or whatever, like, it's like, you literally don't have to.
Yeah, you just gotta manage your expectations, I guess.
Manage your expectations.
That's a good way to put it. Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it. If you ask most independent artists where they're struggling the most in their career right now, they likely won't say, especially if they put some years in, that the music is where they struggle at. They'll likely say something along the lines of getting their name out there, marketing, creating content, and that seems to be a reoccurring theme. And I have my theory in that I think that so many of these creative minds stop being creative when it's time to create something outside of their music. It still exists. It's still within them, but for whatever reason, they kind of like they either like rebel completely against it, which we've heard artists before that we've done reactions to, or they just get nervous and they just move away from it and they create a mediocre version of what they know they're capable of doing more. With that said, though, he does bring up a good point in that there is this romanticizing about how things used to be, when in all actuality, there were more gatekeepers. There was more gates that you had to try to find your way in than there are now. You have the internet. You have instant access to the people that matter the most. The people who will buy your merch, come to your shows, the people who will invest in what you're trying to build, the ones who are the word of mouth, you have direct access to them through social media. So although some people may say, well, damn it, it's so much work to make content, and it is, you at least have the opportunity. You get to, not have to, you get to make content that allows you to have more power and more promotion, regardless of what kind of marketing dollars you do or don't have, literally by utilizing the free tool that is the internet, that is your Instagram, that is your YouTube. You can literally do that now, and that wasn't a thing at one point in time. So yes, the romanticizing of the past is a real thing. Also, to the last point, if you don't want to do it, then you also need to tame your expectations. You can't be mad that people don't know who you are when you don't want to tell them who you are. And why wouldn't you want? You should be the person going the craziest about your music. Nigga, you know what it took to make it. You've been working on it for the last year. You gonna get soft on them when the music is released? Ayo, pause if necessary.
Or just do something else. It's like, if you're not doing that, what are you doing? Because
That
it's
is
always
true.
something that
That
you,
is true.
you
You
know what
gotta
I'm
do
saying? Like, it's like,
something.
do something. Like, we
Yeah.
don't, like, it don't gotta be this.
But it has to be something.
It gotta be something.
That is so true.
You know?
Yeah, because a lot of people talk about, I just want to make the music, let the music speak for itself.
And it's like, the music ain't never spoke for itself. Ever. Motherfuckers think the music speak for themselves. It's tons of amazing songs that you never fucking heard. Because
That
the shit
is
don't
true.
speak for itself.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
I love that we're leaving. I love that we're living in a time. I love that we're living in a time where these type of cliches are getting addressed in a way like this. Very casual. Very casual. When has the music ever spoke for itself? What music that you're currently listening to met you through nobody else's work? What music just jumped up, hopped up on your playlist through no other work? No work from somebody trying to pitch to playlists. No work from somebody creating a visual. No work from somebody talking about the record in a podcast. What music have you had where the music just does all the speaking? Isn't that the purpose of why we even tap into these interviews to begin with? Because there's certain things that music is limited by, right? Some people don't make music to be a conversation. Some people make it as a public journal entry, and they want you to get an opportunity to hear them, but you may have questions. How do they answer those unless there's a different type of conversation that happens? When has the music ever spoke for itself? You say Kendrick's GNX is the only exception. I'll give you pushback on that. One, there's an entire machine behind Kendrick making sure that you know that motherfucker dropped. There's an entire machine. He may be quiet, but that marketing ain't quiet. There's certain platforms that you see it on that you better believe people have done their due diligence to keep their jobs to make sure that everybody who has a platform is talking about it. It just appears that way to the listener because maybe you're not as tapped in with certain things, right? But that's a real thing. Don't get it twisted. In addition to that, Kendrick couldn't get to the Super Bowl unless at some point in time there was a conversation about the Super Bowl. And he had the interview that happened with Ebro. All of this stuff works no matter what type of artist you're talking about, a more mysterious artist, somebody's working. I went to the SoFi Stadium, niggas is working. You hear me? They're working to make sure that people know that there's a stadium, there's a show there. So I think it's important that we look at it from a more broad standpoint because just like you said, Sinatra's, PRs and marketing teams are definitely hard at work. So the music does not speak solely for itself, although it can carry a very loud voice. Very loud and powerful voice. But alone, we may have never heard of these artists.
That is true.
It's your homie who's like, hey, this is dope.
Word of mouth.
He spoke for the music. They
Yeah.
spoke for the music. Or you heard it in a movie. Or you heard it in a commercial.
On
or
the
you seen
radio
it
or
on the
whatever.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, it's always been
That's so
something
true.
else. And I feel like people underutilize the power of familiarity.
That is true.
Like, it's like this is not your favorite song. This is the song that you heard the most.
So many times it became your favorite
So you
song.
know all of the fucking lyrics to it. So you feel a sense of,
That's so true.
hey, this my shit. Like, it's like, this not
But
your
you just
shit.
heard it so many
You
times.
just know this shit. So you feel like when that shit come on and you outside, it's like you.
Yeah.
Isn't that a crazy concept to think about? How much, leave it in the chat. If you had to think about a percentage of how many songs that are in your playlist right now were your choice versus how many songs just you couldn't escape. How many songs that appeared at the right place at the right time and they made the decision for you to listen to this song in a different way or to tap into this artist in a different way. I look at my playlist and I'm like, damn, there's a lot of songs that had it not been for certain movie trailers, had it not been for me being in the line of work that I'm in, had it not been, for the algorithms, there's a good chunk of those, right, Courtney, that I'm listening. I'm like, yo, a lot of these songs were kind of chosen for me because I fit the demographic of, if you're a fan of Sade and you're a fan of Erykah Badu, you're going to love this project by so-and-so. Like, it just, it was there for me. But, yeah. Afro Butterfly says, I know my habits are atypical, but I found at least 65% of my music, the average person, 10%. Yeah. A lot of these decisions are being made for you. It's crazy. That's crazy to think about.
Like, you get that sense of familiarity. And that's really the play on the reels and the TikToks and the shorts. It's like you
kinda
get to
get
get
it
somebody
to your
familiar with it.
That's so true.
Because I feel like that's where I'm at right now, where I'm like, bro, there are so many people that love Bucket List or love Care for Me or some shit like that. And that's awesome, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm like, y'all are familiar with that.
Yes.
And it's like, sit with the music. Let it, you know what I'm saying? Learn a word or two. See how you feel about this. Like, it's always jarring hearing something you haven't heard before.
That is true.
It's jarring. It's like, what? I can't predict what's going to happen next. You mean I don't know the hook? Like, it's like.
That's true. And I think there's a lot of songs that, like, I probably didn't really like on first listen, but, like, have really grown on me the more I've listened to it. I think a lot of people go in with expectations, too. And I think that kind of affects the way they actually process the music.
Mick said something that was like really incredible. I'm gonna misquote him, but it was something like it's like going to a chef that prepared you like the chef special. He just made you hella shit. Mm-hmm. You go to him and you eat it and you like, what? No chicken? Like, and it's.
So he's talking about a moment that actually happened here on the platform. Shout out to Saba. But peep game real quick. So he's getting into the conversation about, look, I'll make the content. I'll try to increase the familiarity that you have with the project that I'm currently promoting and I'm pushing. I'll do that. But at a certain point, I'm the chef. I've prepared a meal. All this customization, all this. At some point, this is, just to refresh your memory, this is what Mick said.
Camera, I was like, that's like you sitting down at a notable chef and being frustrated before you take a bite that there's not something that you expected to be on the plate. Like, oh man, y'all ain't got no beef ribs. It's like, well, no, brother, that's not what I made for you, you know. But because I ain't got no ribs on the plate, now you're gonna talk about how the plate isn't what you expected it to be. It's like I wasn't giving you what you expected.
Brother
I
Mick,
was giving you what I wanted to give you.
You ain't got to censor yourself. Say what you said off camera. Say what you said off camera when you.
Wait, what did I say?
You said, bitch, it ain't no beef broccoli.
Yeah. I said, bitch, it ain't no fucking ribs. Like, y'all, what? Did you fucking try the meal yet? Nigga, like, what?
Shout out to him. Shout out to him. That should not be crying. Bitch, there ain't no chicken on here. And if you let certain people customize your meals, you'll be surprised how unrecognizable they are. I'm glad Saba brought this up because it is a great point in that I think too many artists customize their music to appease, first of all, I wouldn't even say first of all, I guess it would be for a lot of artists, their audience. They tweak it for their own ears, of course, at some point. They tweak their structure of their music for playlisters who will tell them, I think this song is too long. I can't add it to the playlist. Maybe if it was shorter. Maybe if it didn't have a bridge. Or just because you're asking them to make it shorter, you just start cutting things from the song that actually worked for that experience so that you could satisfy these people who have no business telling you how to prepare a chef's meal. They've never chefed anything in their life except for an opinion. And although some of those might be valuable, like shit, man, like not as valuable as a person who cooked the meal for you, I'd say. But continue.
Like that's not what I'm preparing right now.
Right.
And it was like such a like good quote because I feel like that a lot, like not just in my own artistry, but like even looking at how people receive other people's art, where it's like you can tell sometimes that the expectation informs how you listen so much, where it's like, imagine if you didn't have that, you might love this, but because you went into this wanting a different version, you're not even really hearing what they giving you.
I'm guilty of that, I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, we are, like, you know what I'm saying? We only what we are. We
right.
Just, we wanted this.
Man, that's so true. I've tried to kind of unlearn that and just think of artists and just be like, you know what, you're an artist, I'm gonna take whatever you give me.
I ain't gonna lie to you. That was me the first time I heard life goes on under y'all, my baby. First time I heard Squabble Up, I was like, okay, this is not the direction I thought it was gonna go. And it took me some time to get to know the new version of it. But now it's like I can't hear it any other way except for the remix that I did. I can't hear it no other way. I get it now. When I first heard that as a snippet on the intro of Not Like Us, I was like, oh, what in the Neptune sounding for relish Timbaland shit is this? And then it went a different direction. And I was like, all right, you're new. I got to get to know you. And over time I did. But yeah, I definitely felt that way about that song.
Let me see what that turns into.
It turns into like a real, like, it's like a two-sided relationship. It's like you build trust that way.
That's what I want to say. It's about trust, really.
Yeah.
There's some artists I trust. Like whenever they put out music, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna listen because like I trust your track record, basically.
Right. And sometimes when it's artists like that, you might have to give it a few listens.
Yeah.
You might have to give it a few listens. When it's an artist who don't sound like everything else right now, too, you got to get at a few listens sometimes because it's like it's like a palate cleanser almost, where it's like you got to familiarize yourself with just where they at, what's the palette, what's the sonic landscape, what's, you know what I'm saying, where we going with it.
I like that.
Yeah, shout out to this. This is a super dope interview. That's what I wanted to highlight, but it's interesting. Isn't it interesting how our listening habits sometimes mirror like our eating habits? I know y'all have been here, unless you're somebody who got like a crazy regimen like that one dude that's been going viral, who put his face into a bowl of ice every morning and he wakes up at 3:30 and at 3:01 he already showers, and then at 3:02 he jumps down into a pool, and you know that dude? Okay, whatever his name is. I feel like for those of us that are not on that kind of timing, I'm with you, Afro Butterfly. I love all types of foods, but I also know when I'm eating too many foods from the same category. For instance, when I'm eating too much junk food, yeah, that shit ain't giving me no kind of nutrients, but that shit is like, it's spiking off dopamine. It's doing something for the moment. And after a while, I'm like, all right, I've been eating too much of this bullshit. I gotta get my life together. I feel like there's certain music that you listen to it for the first time around and you get it. It's not much to consume. It's nothing. It's really no ingredients that you really got to break down. That shit is candy. That shit is Cheeto Puffs. Anybody ever told me about the nutrients that were beneficial in Cheeto Puffs? Because nobody go to those for them damn nutrients. But then there's meals where you have to really understand how certain, you know what I'm saying? Like even like a steak And am I hungry? Yeah, a little bit. Steak and mashed potatoes, like there's a certain type of texture. Those two back to back, it's just a certain type of like carb. It's certain meals that just you gotta like really sit with it and understand what it is that you're eating and respect it. I still won't put ketchup on my tacos too, Papa. You mind your business and let me do me. DIYers, final thoughts on that. Shout out to folks who are challenging that norm. Artists, you know you got to do more than just put this music out. Instead of looking at it like you have to, how about you get to? You ain't got to worry about nobody co-signing your shit, telling you, you know what I'm saying? Telling you when you get to pop out and be heard. You can do something impressive to the point where the audience chooses you and keeps choosing you, and you just keep showing up. And then somebody has to now come to your table and negotiate with you on your terms because you don't need them. Those are my thoughts, though, DIYers. You let me know what you think. DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Don't be greedy. Peace.